Okay, so that was kind of an interesting experience. So yesterday I was talking about going to visit the Tailor shop again today to get a chance to go to their factories so some of their guys can kind of see like why some of the stuff was hanging the way that it was, and so the tailor himself can actually get there and do some adjustments. So I show up to the suit shop this morning at 10 o'clock, and I was there before he was, so I went and grabbed some meat and came back. And was out there, does a quick vacuum of the shop. That's kind of his thing. This guy in particular, I had a long conversation with him. This is one of the things that he sort of started his career with. It's like a cleaner, so it's a very sort of like big deal for him. So jump on the back of this guy's scooter. And so far on this trip, I haven't done that. There are places where you can get taxis, like you can get ferried around by guys on motorcycles. So it's a big thing in Bangkok. And I kind of avoided doing that because that's like the more of like the chances of you dying horribly, I think, are greater on like the motorcycles, particularly in that town because like traffic can be so congested. So I was basically trying to avoid being on the back of any like scooter or motorcycle that I wasn't driving myself, and I haven't actually rented one, so this is the first time I've been on any scooter or motorcycle this entire trip. It goes fairly well. So we go to like the tailor shop, and so they wanted me to try some things on, and I don't want to say like modesty, but like so I want to make sure I'm not like offending anybody, so I make sure like, alright, it's okay if I just take this thing off right here, like in front of the shop with like all the different people working on the machines. I took some photos though, I didn't take any video. And so I'd say, yeah, that's okay. For men, it's okay. And so I tried all the different items. And so they get out like the pin, they kind of have a couple of conversation back and forth, like in Thai, like the suit salesman and like the actual like tailor themselves. And so this was another occasion, like there's this sort of ongoing joke between me and some other people, and a lot of people don't really know the joke, but like there's this punchline to this joke that like I'm considered a very handsome man in Asia, which is kind of like, I don't know, it has to do with certain stuff that people that I know in Canada and all that, but you know, sort of regularly on this trip, like people will just sort of like stop and say like, oh, you're very handsome. So like the lady that like washed my laundry like a few days ago, we were having like they do it by weight here, so they're weighing it, and she kind of looks at me like, oh, sir, you're very handsome. A few other people have told me that, and so like I'm hanging out in this tailor shop, or pardon me, the tailor's factory, and so like there's a whole bunch of different machines there, including just like regular sewing machines, and so the two guys that are working on me, talking back and forth in Thai, they're sort of busy like nitpicking and all this. Like the male sewing machine guys, like they're kind of just like ignoring me and doing about their business because they got work to do, and I can't help but notice like the various like women in the shop are kind of like stopping and kind of doing a little bit of this. And I also have more like chest hair, kind of body hair stuff going on than probably most Thai men do, so I felt very sort of acutely aware of this Josh is a handsome man in Asia sort of symptom again today. So because of the stuff that I bought, that's still being made, it'll hopefully be done tomorrow. Because I was actually planning on leaving tomorrow, but I'll stay a little later. So in combination with that and the things that I'm bringing home for souvenirs, I need to go to a whole new suitcase. So next up on my journey is to go to one of the two big malls in town here and try and get like a suitcase larger than the one that I had. We'll see what they have. I would prefer it if it was something like a double bag that's kind of collapsible, because I don't have a lot of space in the apartment for like big pieces of luggage. But maybe something with like a lock so I don't get like, you know, any issues at like the airport. People they have security guys going through all my shit. So yeah, next up is to grab that, and then I have a few hours free, and then I got to go to the second tailor to go take a look at the winter coat. And the winter coat actually has come together really nicely. I went and saw it last night. Shoulders look good, but it's sort of typical of a lot of things they'll buy like from Thai tailors, is that like they'll kind of overdo the shoulder pads like a little bit, so they kind of look good when you're just standing straight, but when you kind of pull your arm up a little bit, then you sort of have that sort of football player little wing thing, and I've decided I'm just going to live with it. I bought clothes. I bought like a winter coat that's similar to this in Canada that doesn't have that, so I guess I'll have like one of both. And in the future, maybe I'll just scold them if they want to give me like too much shoulder pads, because I have a lot of shoulder as it is.
Alright, so to buy my luggage, I went back to the airport center plaza, which is like a mall that's halfway between like downtown and the actual airport. It's the bigger of the two malls. So to get here, I went and I chartered a ride, let's put it that way. Interesting thing I discovered about this town. So every town in Thailand, everywhere, basically has one of these tuk-tuks, these little three-wheeler things you see in front of me here. Bangkok has a lot of these like rented taxi things you see over here, and this one's like a van. So when I was in Bangkok, I just basically took those. I didn't want to negotiate with the tuk-tuks. The other thing they have here is these things, and it's like the Songathu, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it. But so these guys, sometimes they're driving a route, so they'll just be like a regular bus. So you see like in the back there's 2 rows of seats. However, if they're empty, you can actually just like charter this guy to come and like take you around. So the trip that if I had taken with one of these guys would have always tried to push the price up. So this guy would have charged me 60, 80, 100 baht to get from where I was to here. Whereas this guy, which is what I just took here, was just kind of like hanging out on the side of the street with nobody, no passengers in the back. He says, "Hey, where do you want to go?" And so I went and got this guy to take me here for free, which I thought was sort of interesting because I essentially just chartered a bus.
So both of the 2 malls here, they have everything you'd expect in a mall, including a movie theater. And so the mall behind me has sort of the bigger of the 2 movie theaters. The other mall that's actually sort of walking distance from me has a smaller one that's a little bit more, I guess you could say, like Thai in flavor in the way that they'll actually show more Thai movies. The one back here, they'll show a lot of Western films, but they'll also show like a couple of ones that are maybe not just Thai, but like Asian films. So like they'll speak in Thai, and if there's subtitles, the subtitles will be in Thai. And I went and saw last week The Immortals, which is brand spanking new, because I need something to do. And so anytime that there's subtitles, because there's a couple of spots in this movie, if anyone hasn't seen it, it's a movie that's supposed to be based in ancient Greece. So there's a couple of moments when there's a couple of people talking to each other in a language that's not English. So the subtitles are in Thai, which is a little confusing for me. But everything else is in English, you can understand perfectly. But there's Thai subtitles on the bottom of the screen. And much like in the West, there's like a whole bunch of previews you gotta watch and commercials, which is funny because this movie was in 3D, so I actually put the 3D glasses on at one point to watch some like 3D like previews, and then they instructed me to take them back off to watch the rest of the previews, and then put them back on for when the movie actually started. But they actually make you stand for the national anthem when you go see a movie here. So you watch a bunch of previews, and there's a little thing that's in Thai and English says "Please rise," and so you stand up, and everybody, looks very solemn, and they sing like the national anthem, which, like many anthems, sounds a little hokey. And it's the pictures of the king, because everybody loves the king here. And then it ends, and you sit back down, and the movie starts, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because I'm not used to making such a big deal out of something like a movie. You know what I mean? It's just one of these other things that's just kind of funny. It took about a month for Thailand to stop seeming like a strange place. And with the exception of the story I just told you, like everything seems very sort of, I don't know, I have a really sort of like a much stronger feel for like something being a Thai thing like now. So there's not many of these things that surprise me very much anymore. If a guy were to live here, and I don't think I would, like I don't think I'd want to live here forever, but there's lots of people that do. So like the place I went for breakfast today was obviously like a Western expat that had come here and opened up a restaurant. I can see why somebody would want to live here. But the reasons that I wouldn't want to live here is not necessarily something specific to Thai. It's a little bit more, it's kind of specific to sort of like the nature of the city. So, I live in Edmonton, and the next place that I want to move after Edmonton, if I leave Edmonton, would be sort of like the next stage up. So I want to go to like a bigger city, not a smaller one. This city, probably population-wise, is kind of comparable to Edmonton, but it's not as developed. So like they don't have a train in this town, and they don't have a few other things I'm used to that I would like. Bangkok, on the other hand, does have a train, does have some more of those things. So like Bangkok, if I was going to go live in Thailand somewhere, like Bangkok would probably be it. But yeah, fun trip so far. So yeah, Asia, at least this part of Asia doesn't seem like a weird place anymore. And I don't know if the next vacation will take me to Asia again. I will come here again at some point. Maybe not necessarily Thailand, but to other places in Asia that I wanted to go and see. In my head, this was about the most foreign place that I could go to that would still be like a really developed place. Like there's a lot of other places you can go in the world that are a lot less developed than, say, like this city that probably would seem even stranger. But so yeah, the world's not so strange after all.
Dude, these things are everywhere. So this camera right now is about the level of my nose. Scheiße.